May 12, 2017. An ordinary Friday, but that day, the world suffered a digital heart attack. In England, a doctor reaches for the computer to open a patient's X-ray. The file won't open, a lock on the screen. In the next room, a surgeon can't access the patient's blood type for a critical operation. Panic rises. Radios chatter in the corridor. Phones are busy. Everyone repeats the same line. I can't get into the system. Not just that hospital. Across England, at least 80 hospitals are affected, roughly a third of the system. Cancer appointments are canceled. Emergency departments turn ambulances away. About 19 to 20,000 appointments evaporate at once. At the same hour, Telefónica's offices in Spain encounter the same errors. In Germany, Deutsche Bahn's station displays crash. Renault and Dacia halt production. FedEx's logistics flow freezes. From Russia to China, in more than 150 countries, over 300,000 machines are held hostage. On the screens, a single window. A red message. Your files have been encrypted. If you don't pay $300 in Bitcoin, they will be deleted. The world holds its breath. What is this? Who did it? Why? What if the answer isn't as simple as we think? What if money is only a mask? Rewind into the shadows, to the digital arsenal of the U.S. National Security Agency, NSA. For years, the NSA develops cyber tools that remain unseen. Zero-day exploits, silent keys, ghost doors. One of them was far stronger than the rest, EternalBlue. EternalBlue wasn't an ordinary hacking tool. It exploited an old door at the heart of Windows, a vulnerability in the SMB v1 protocol. Simply put, remote, unauthorized, deep. Once it got in, it became a skeleton key that flung the door open from the inside. A single key that could open millions of locked doors. The NSA used this weapon covertly for years, until someone stole it. April 14, 2017. A group called Shadow Brokers dumped the stolen cyber weapons on the internet. Taken out of a secret hangar, they were roaming like loaded steel with the safety off. Microsoft had actually released a critical patch a month earlier, on March 14, 2017, MS17010. One click, and the door would have been shut, exactly 59 days before the attack. The clock had started. On one side, a simple update button that would prevent a global catastrophe. On the other, the entire world delaying that click. And there's that human flaw, procrastination. It's working now, let's not touch it. After the shift, next week, let's test compatibility. 2 words, 1 result. Minus 59 days. The patch existed, it wasn't applied.
Britain's National Health Service, the NHS, was deep in this debt pit. It's 2017, yet thousands of NHS machines are still running Windows XP. Windows XP, an operating system whose support ended in 2014, 3 years earlier. The Health Ministry had told them in 2014, get rid of these systems, but there was no money, no time, no will. They never deployed that patch, MS17101. Not only them, Renault's factory, Deutsche Bahn's ticketing, everyone was quietly calculating the cost of later. For 59 days, that loaded weapon sat on the table where everyone could see it. And on May 12, someone picked it up. One machine fell, then another. This time the difference wasn't a human, it was a worm. Meaning, once it infected a single computer, it could spread on its own to every other vulnerable machine on the network, a creature that propagated by itself. It scanned door numbers, found the weak one, slipped in, dropped its payload, moved on. This is how dominoes start. One panel can't decide. One service won't start. A third component drowns in the pending jobs queue. A factory shift stops. A train timetable can't refresh. A hospital imaging system says no connection. The lock wasn't placed on individual computers, it was slammed onto workflows. Networks aren't linear, an entire system can hang by a single thin thread. Off-stage, the guesses pile up. A state actor? Organized crime? Why is no one claiming it? Why so loud? Red on the screen, gray in the mind. Now we're in a room. In England, a 22-year-old security researcher, online name Malware Tech, real name Marcus Hutchins, watches the flood of screenshots. He finds a sample, opens it in isolation. Inside the code, a call to a long nonsensical domain name catches his eye. It's not registered. It has no presence on the internet. What if this is a trap? What if the malware, if that nonsense domain responds, assumes it's in an analysis sandbox and stops? One trial, one click. He registers that nonsense domain for $10.69. Machines across the world see a response, and they stop. Without realizing it, Marcus had flipped the malware's kill switch. The attackers had likely added it to evade researchers' analysis environments. If this domain answers, "I'm in a trap, don't run." That clever anti-analysis trick became the single point of failure for the entire operation. A multi-billion-dollar global catastrophe, accidentally slowed by a $10 domain registration. Marcus Hutchins was the man who saved the day. Of course, months later he was arrested in Las Vegas by the very same FBI for unrelated past cybercrimes, but that's another story.
So who pulled the trigger? All fingers turned the same way. The Lazarus group, linked to North Korea. Was the goal money? The on-screen demand was comical, $300, while factories, railways, hospitals were locked. The payment mechanism was sloppy. There was no solid guarantee anyone who paid would be freed. A rational criminal wants rational collection. Here, the aim seemed less fee than impact, which is why the answer drifted from mere crime toward a geopolitical signature. When the dust settled, the numbers spoke coldly. An estimated global cost of about $4 billion. In England, roughly 19,000 to 20,000 appointments canceled. A global spread across 150-plus countries, 300,000-plus machines. And what flowed into the attackers' wallets? Around $140,000. Yes, billions in damage versus barely six figures. A financial fiasco. But WannaCry's legacy wasn't money. The lesson slammed us in the face. This wasn't a 0 day, it was minus 59 days. The patch existed, it wasn't applied. Legacy isn't a nostalgic word, it means exposure. Patch Tuesday isn't a tradition, it's a requirement. Technical debt isn't an accounting line, it's risk, and risk collects with interest at the first opportunity. At 3 in the morning, under fluorescent lights, a network admin says, "Increase segmentation." A CFO asks, "Where are the backups?" 3 different answers float in the room. A physician marks a star on the appointment list, called. An engineer stands before the server they promised to get to. Now it's too late. When the crisis ends, one line remains. Fragility was closer than we thought. And the criminal world learned too. They learned this: don't be noisy. WannaCry was spray and pray, noisy, chaotic, targeting everyone. So it drew the attention of the whole world and the FBI. The new generation shifted to what they call big game hunting. They don't attack everyone anymore. Quietly, they pick one wealthy target: a hospital, a school district, or a pipeline. Like the Colonial Pipeline case in the US in 2021. They shut the line that carries nearly half of the East Coast's fuel and triggered shortages. The tactics changed as well. WannaCry only encrypted. That's single extortion. If you had backups, you were safe. Modern attackers do double extortion. They enter your systems, steal your most valuable data, trade secrets, customer lists, then they encrypt everything. If you don't pay, no problem. They publish your data online. Worse still, triple extortion. They did it to Finland's Vastaamo therapy clinic. First, they extorted the clinic. Then the patients, one by one. Using stolen therapy notes, they told thousands of people, if you don't pay, we'll send your darkest secrets to your family and employer. This is pure evil. WannaCry wasn't just an attack, it was a lesson for us and for them. For us, it taught that postponing the boring update button can cost $4 billion and 20,000 canceled hospital appointments. It showed that fragility is closer than we think, and it often grows first in our own delays, not in someone else's aggression. For them, it taught how to be more ruthless, quieter, and more profitable. WannaCry was the noisy infant of ransomware. Its legacy is the silent assassins that now threaten our critical infrastructure, endanger national security, and are treated as tantamount to terrorism. And those assassins are right now hunting for the one computer that delays pressing the next update button. States like North Korea used WannaCry. But who are these new big-game attackers? The answer may be even more frightening. You don't need to be a state anymore. In the dark corners of the internet, ransomware as a service markets have emerged. For just a few $1,000s, you can rent weapons powerful enough to cripple Colonial Pipeline, a digital terror marketplace. So what about today? Not seeing a red countdown on your screen doesn't mean you're safe. Maybe the subject line of an email just hasn't been written yet, a backup hasn't been erased yet, or a leak site hasn't queued your company's name yet. The question that keeps our curiosity alive is still on the table. Was it really for money? Or was money just a mask? Regardless of the answer, one conclusion stands. Most of the time, it isn't them who break us. It's what we postpone. And now those silent hunters are searching for the single machine that delays the next update click.